Today we're going to dive into a captivating story that will help you practice your English listening skills. This narrative is all about love, resilience, and the efforts of one man to win over the woman he admires. Meet a man who may not be traditionally handsome, but who has a heart full of kindness and a spirit full of determination. And then there's a beautiful woman who captures everyone's attention with her charm and elegance. This is the story of their journey, a tale of a devoted man striving to win the love of a remarkable woman. Will his dedication and genuine affection be enough to win her over? Listen along to discover how their story unfolds. Chapter 1. Introduction to John. John lived in a small town called Fairview. He was known for his gardening skills, but not for his looks. John had a face with pronounced and marked features. His skin was wrinkled, especially around the forehead, cheeks, and eyes, giving him an aged appearance. He had a prominent, bulbous nose, thin, straight eyebrows over small, slightly sunken eyes. His mouth was medium-sized with thin lips, and his jaw was wide and strong with a prominent, square chin. John had short, dark brown hair, simply styled. He often wore a white, sleeveless shirt and a light-colored open shirt, giving him a casual appearance. Despite his looks, John was a kind and gentle man. He had a deep love for plants and spent most of his time tending to the gardens in the town. He was known for his beautiful flower arrangements and the care he put into his work. However, John was desperate for love. He had always been alone, and he longed for someone to share his life with. John's past. John's childhood had been marked by solitude. He was the youngest of 3 siblings, but unlike his brothers, who were athletic and outgoing, John was quiet and introspective. His mother, an avid gardener, was the one who introduced him to the world of plants. They would spend hours together in their backyard, planting flowers and vegetables. These moments were the happiest of John's life, filled with the warmth of the sun and the scent of blooming flowers. But as John grew older, his family life began to deteriorate. His father, a stern man with little patience for John's gentle nature, favored his more boisterous sons. This favoritism created a rift in the family, and John often found himself isolated, retreating further into his love for gardening. When his mother passed away when he was a teenager, John felt an immense void. Gardening became his solace, a way to feel connected to his mother and to find peace amidst his turbulent emotions, motivation, and dreams. John's motivation to become a gardener was deeply rooted in his desire to create beauty in the world. He believed that tending to plants was a way to bring a piece of his mother's spirit to life. Each plant he nurtured was a tribute to her memory, a way to keep her close despite her absence. His gardens were not just collections of flowers and shrubs. They were sanctuaries of love and remembrance. Despite the satisfaction his work brought him, John yearned for human connection. He dreamed of finding someone who would appreciate the person behind the rough exterior, someone who would see his kind heart and gentle soul. He often imagined sharing his life with a partner, someone who would walk with him through his gardens hand in hand, appreciating the beauty they had created together. John's longing for companionship was not just about finding a partner. It was about finding someone who would accept him for who he was. He wanted someone who would see past his wrinkled skin and prominent features to the tender-hearted man within. His biggest fear was that he would live and die alone, with no one to remember him or the love he had to offer. Daily life. Each day, John would wake up at dawn and head to the local nursery where he worked. The nursery was a sprawling space filled with a variety of plants, from delicate orchids to sturdy oak saplings. John took pride in his work, meticulously caring for each plant as if it were his own child. His knowledge and expertise earned him respect in the community, but respect was not the same as companionship. John's evenings were spent in quiet solitude. He lived in a modest cottage on the outskirts of Fairview, surrounded by a garden that was his pride and joy. The garden was a testament to his skill and dedication, a riot of colors and scents that brought joy to anyone who saw it. But while the garden thrived, John's heart remained lonely. In the evenings, after a day of hard work, John would sit on his porch, watching the sunset over his garden. The vibrant hues of the sky reflected in the petals of his flowers, creating a scene of breathtaking beauty. But as beautiful as these moments were, they also underscored his loneliness. He longed for someone to share these sunsets with, someone who would sit beside him and marvel at the beauty they had created together. The unexpected change. One warm summer day, while John was working at the nursery, a new customer walked in. Her name was Emily, and she had recently moved to Fairview. Emily was different from anyone John had ever met. She had an infectious enthusiasm for life and an innate appreciation for nature. She had come to the nursery looking for advice on starting her own garden, and she was immediately drawn to John's expertise and passion. As John helped Emily pick out plants and gave her tips on gardening, they began to talk. Emily was genuinely interested in John's life and his work. She listened intently as he spoke about his love for plants and his mother's influence on his career. For the first time in a long while, John felt seen. Emily's warmth and kindness were like a balm to his lonely heart. Over the next few weeks, Emily became a regular visitor at the nursery. She and John developed a friendship, spending hours talking about gardening and life. Emily's presence brought a new light into John's world. She saw the beauty in his soul and appreciated him for who he was. With Emily, John began to feel a spark of hope. Perhaps his dreams of companionship were not as far-fetched as he had once thought. John's life was beginning to change. The man who had always been defined by his appearance was starting to be recognized for his heart. As he tended to his plants, he found himself smiling more, his heart lighter with the promise of new beginnings. The seeds of hope had been planted, and John was ready to nurture them into a beautiful future. Chapter 2. Introduction to Emily. Emily was the most beautiful woman in Fairview. She had an oval, symmetrical face with smooth, flawless skin. Her eyes were large and expressive, a warm light brown framed by well-defined, moderately thick eyebrows. Her nose was small and straight, perfectly proportioned with the rest of her face. Emily had full, well-defined lips with a slight curve that suggested a gentle smile. Her long, light brown hair had natural waves that fell over her shoulders. Her cheeks had a slight blush, adding to her healthy and youthful appearance. Emily often wore a summer dress, possibly in bright colors, which complemented her casual and relaxed style. Emily was kind and always willing to help others. She worked as a teacher and was loved by all her students. She had a warm and caring nature that drew people to her. Despite her beauty, Emily was humble and never looked down on anyone. Emily's past. Emily's childhood was filled with love and laughter. She was the only child of a schoolteacher mother and a gardener father. Her parents' professions had a significant influence on her life. Her mother, with her nurturing and patient nature, instilled in Emily a love for learning and teaching. Her father, on the other hand, shared his passion for plants and the outdoors with her. Growing up, Emily spent countless hours in her father's garden, learning the names of different flowers and how to care for them. She loved the way her father could bring a garden to life, creating a vibrant, colorful oasis. These early experiences fostered Emily's appreciation for nature and beauty. Emily's mother was a beloved teacher in their community. She was known for her kindness, patience, and ability to inspire her students. Emily admired her mother greatly and often helped her with school projects. It was during these times that Emily discovered her own love for teaching. She enjoyed helping her mother prepare lessons and even played the role of a student in mock classes. Motivation and dreams. Emily's motivation to become a teacher stemmed from her desire to make a positive impact on the lives of others, much like her mother. She wanted to inspire and nurture the minds of young children, helping them discover their potential and passion for learning. Teaching for Emily was more than just a job, it was a calling. Her love for gardening also played a significant role in her life. She believed that tending to a garden was similar to nurturing young minds. Both required patience, care, and a deep understanding of growth and development. Emily often dreamed of having her own home with a beautiful garden, where she could relax and reflect after a fulfilling day at school. Despite her outward beauty and inner warmth, Emily had her own share of struggles. She had moved to Fairview to escape a failed relationship and the pressures of city life. The breakup had left her heartbroken and searching for a fresh start. Fairview, with its small-town charm and friendly community, seemed like the perfect place to rebuild her life. Daily life. In Fairview, Emily quickly became a cherished member of the community. She taught at the local elementary school, where her students adored her. Emily's classroom was a place of creativity and exploration. She used innovative teaching methods to make learning fun and engaging. Her lessons often incorporated elements of nature, reflecting her love for the outdoors. Outside of school, Emily was active in the community. She volunteered at local events, helped organize town fairs, and even offered free gardening workshops. Her warm and caring nature made her a beloved figure in Fairview. People were drawn to her not just because of her beauty, but because of her genuine kindness and willingness to help others. Emily's home was a small, charming cottage with a large garden. She spent her weekends planting flowers, tending to her vegetable patch, and enjoying the peace and tranquility of her surroundings. The garden was her sanctuary, a place where she could unwind and find solace. The unexpected encounter. One summer day, Emily decided to visit the local nursery to buy some new plants for her garden. She had heard great things about the nursery and its talented gardener, John. As she walked through the rows of plants, admiring the vibrant flowers and lush greenery, she noticed a man working diligently in the corner. John's appearance took her by surprise. His rough features and casual attire were in stark contrast to the beauty of the garden he tended. But as Emily watched him work, she saw the care and passion he put into his plants. Intrigued, she approached him for advice. John looked up as Emily spoke to him, and for a moment, he was taken aback by her beauty. But Emily's warm smile and genuine interest in his work quickly put him at ease. They began to talk about gardening, and Emily was impressed by John's knowledge and dedication. As they spent more time together, Emily saw past John's rough exterior. She saw a kind, gentle man with a deep love for plants and a caring heart. John, in turn, was captivated by Emily's warmth and enthusiasm. Her presence brought a new light into his life, and he found himself looking forward to their conversations. Emily's unexpected encounter with John marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. She had found a kindred spirit in the most unlikely of places. Their friendship blossomed, and Emily began to see the beauty in John that others often overlooked. For Emily, life in Fairview was about to become even more fulfilling. She had found a friend who shared her passions and values, someone who appreciated her for who she was. As she tended to her garden and taught her students, Emily felt a renewed sense of hope and joy. And so, Emily's journey in Fairview continued, filled with new beginnings and unexpected friendships. Little did she know that her encounter with John would lead to something even more beautiful than the gardens they both cherished. IELTS Chapter 3. The First Encounter. One sunny afternoon, John was working in the garden near the school where Emily taught. He was planting some flowers when he heard a gentle voice behind him. "Hello," Emily said with a warm smile. John turned around, surprised to see Emily standing there. "Hello," he replied shyly, his heart pounding in his chest. "I've seen you working here many times," Emily said. "You always make the garden look so beautiful." "Thank you," John said, blushing slightly. "I love working with plants." Emily smiled and looked around at the flowers. "It's clear that you put a lot of love and care into your work." John felt a warmth in his heart that he had never felt before. He couldn't believe that someone as beautiful as Emily was talking to him, building a connection. As they continued to talk, John learned that Emily had a deep appreciation for gardening as well. She shared stories about her father's garden and how she used to spend hours helping him. John listened intently, captivated by her passion and enthusiasm. It was rare for him to find someone who understood and appreciated his love for plants. "I've always wanted to have a garden like this," Emily said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "But I'm not as skilled as you are." "Gardening takes time and patience," John said, his confidence growing as they spoke. "I can help you if you'd like." Emily's face lit up. "That would be wonderful. I could use all the help I can get." Over the next few weeks, John and Emily met regularly at the garden. John taught Emily the basics of planting, watering, and caring for different types of flowers. They worked side by side, sharing tips and tricks, and slowly, a deep friendship began to blossom, discovering common ground. As they spent more time together, John and Emily discovered they had much in common. They both valued hard work, had a deep respect for nature, and believed in the importance of kindness and compassion. Their conversations flowed easily, and they found themselves sharing personal stories and dreams for the future. One afternoon, while planting a new bed of roses, Emily looked at John and said, "I'm so glad I met you, John. You've made my time here in Fairview even more special." John felt a lump in his throat. "I'm glad I met you too, Emily. You've brought a lot of joy into my life." Their friendship grew stronger with each passing day. John, who had always been self-conscious about his appearance, started to feel more confident around Emily. Her genuine kindness and acceptance made him believe that maybe he was worthy of love and companionship. Emily's face lit up. "That would be wonderful. I could use all the help I can get." Over the next few weeks, John and Emily met regularly at the garden. John taught Emily the basics of planting, watering, and caring for different types of flowers. They worked side by side, sharing tips and tricks, and slowly a deep friendship began to blossom, a glimmer of hope. One day, as they were finishing up their work in the garden, Emily turned to John with a thoughtful expression. "Would you like to come over for dinner tomorrow night?" she asked. "I'd love to show you my garden and maybe get some more tips from you." John's heart skipped a beat. "I'd love that," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "Thank you, Emily." As John walked home that evening, he felt a sense of hope he hadn't experienced in years. The prospect of spending more time with Emily, getting to know her better, filled him with excitement. He realized that his feelings for her were growing stronger with each passing day. Dinner at Emily's. The next evening, John arrived at Emily's cottage with a small bouquet of flowers from his garden. Emily greeted him at the door with a warm smile, and he handed her the flowers. "These are beautiful, John." "Thank you," she said, inviting him in. Emily's cottage was cozy and inviting, with a small but well-tended garden in the backyard. They spent the evening cooking together, sharing stories, and laughing. As they sat down to dinner, John felt a sense of belonging he hadn't felt in a long time. After dinner, they went outside to admire Emily's garden. The sun was setting, casting a warm golden glow over the flowers. Emily looked at John and said, "You've helped me so much, John. My garden has never looked this beautiful." John smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. "It's been a pleasure, Emily. I'm happy to help." As they stood there, surrounded by the beauty they had created together, John felt a surge of courage. "Emily," he said softly, "I want you to know that you've brought so much joy into my life. I never thought I'd meet someone like you." Emily looked at him with kind eyes. "John, you've brought joy into my life too. I'm grateful for your friendship and everything you've taught me." John took a deep breath, his heart pounding. "I care about you, Emily, more than just as a friend. I understand if you don't feel the same way, but I needed to tell you." Emily's eyes softened, and she took John's hand. "John, you are a wonderful person. I care about you too. Let's take things one step at a time and see where this journey leads us." John felt a wave of relief and happiness. "I'd like that," he said, smiling. As they stood together in the garden, holding hands, John realized that his dreams of companionship and love were finally within reach. The seeds of hope had been planted, and with Emily by his side, he was ready to nurture them into a beautiful future. And so, the first encounter between John and Emily marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Together, they would face the challenges ahead, their hearts filled with hope and the promise of a blossoming love. Chapter 4: A Growing Friendship. From that day on, Emily and John started to talk more often. Emily would stop by the garden on her way to and from work, and they would chat about various things. They talked about flowers, books, music, and their dreams. Emily discovered that John was very intelligent and had a great sense of humor. She enjoyed his company more and more each day. John, on the other hand, couldn't believe his luck. He had admired Emily from afar for a long time, but never thought she would want to be friends with someone like him. He cherished every moment they spent together, shared moments. Their conversations became the highlight of John's day. He would eagerly wait for Emily to pass by the garden, always ready with a new flower or interesting fact about plants to share with her. Emily, in turn, found herself drawn to John's gentle nature and the depth of his knowledge. She loved hearing his stories and learning from his experiences. One afternoon, Emily brought John a book on gardening she had found in a local bookstore. "I thought you might enjoy this," she said, handing him the book with a smile. John was touched by her thoughtful gesture. "Thank you, Emily. This means a lot to me." As they sat on a bench in the garden, flipping through the pages of the book, Emily asked, "What got you interested in gardening, John?" John looked thoughtful for a moment. "My mother. She loved plants and flowers. She taught me everything I know. Gardening was our way of bonding. After she passed away, it became my way of keeping her memory alive." Emily reached out and placed a hand on John's arm. "That's beautiful, John. She would be so proud of you." John felt a lump in his throat. "Thank you, Emily. That means a lot." Discovering new interests. Their friendship continued to grow, and they began to discover new interests together. Emily introduced John to some of her favorite books and music, and John taught Emily more about the intricacies of gardening. They would often spend their weekends exploring the countryside, looking for new plants to add to their collection. One Saturday, they decided to visit a botanical garden in a nearby town. As they walked through the lush, vibrant landscapes, Emily marveled at the variety of plants and flowers. "This place is amazing," she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. John nodded, enjoying her enthusiasm. "It is. There's so much to learn from places like this." They spent hours wandering through the garden, discussing different plants and their uses. Emily loved how passionate John was about his work, and John appreciated how genuinely interested Emily was in learning. As the sun began to set, they found a quiet spot to sit and watch the colors change in the sky. Emily turned to John and said, "Thank you for today. I had a wonderful time." John smiled, feeling a warmth in his heart. "I did too, Emily. It's been a perfect day." A deeper connection. As their friendship deepened, Emily and John began to share more personal stories. Emily told John about her childhood, her parents, and her move to Fairview. She spoke about her dreams of creating a beautiful garden and making a difference in the lives of her students. John, in turn, opened up about his struggles with loneliness and self-doubt. He shared his fears of never finding someone who would love him for who he was. Emily listened with compassion, offering words of encouragement and understanding. One evening, after a particularly heartfelt conversation, Emily looked at John and said, "You know, John, you're one of the kindest and most genuine people I've ever met. You deserve all the happiness in the world." John felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. "Thank you, Emily. You've brought so much light into my life." Emily smiled and took his hand. "And you've brought so much joy into mine." The promise of more. Their growing friendship did not go unnoticed by the residents of Fairview. People began to see John in a new light, recognizing the kind and gentle man behind the rough exterior. Emily's influence had a positive impact on John's confidence, and he started to open up more to those around him. One day, while working in the garden, John found himself surrounded by a group of children from Emily's class. They were eager to learn about plants and flowers, and John was more than happy to teach them. As he watched the children listen intently to his explanations, John felt a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced before. Emily watched from a distance, her heart swelling with pride. She knew that John was beginning to see his own worth, and she was grateful to be a part of his journey. A new chapter. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, Emily and John's friendship continued to blossom. They supported each other through challenges, celebrated each other's successes, and found joy in the simple pleasures of life. One evening, as they sat together in Emily's garden, surrounded by the flowers they had planted together, Emily turned to John and said, "I've been thinking a lot about us, John. I feel so grateful to have you in my life." John looked at her, his heart pounding. "I feel the same way, Emily. You've changed my life in ways I never thought possible." Emily smiled, her eyes shining with emotion. "I don't know what the future holds, but I know that I want to explore it with you, one step at a time." John felt a surge of hope and happiness. "I'd like that, Emily. More than anything." As they sat together, hand in hand, They knew that their growing friendship was just the beginning. They had found a connection that transcended appearances, a bond built on trust, understanding, and love. And with each passing day, they looked forward to the promise of more shared moments, more laughter, and more love. Together, they were ready to face whatever the future held, knowing that they had each other to lean on. The garden they had nurtured was a testament to their growing friendship, a symbol of the beauty that could bloom when two hearts come together. Chapter 5. The Town's Reaction. As Emily and John's friendship grew, people in Fairview began to notice. They started to gossip and whisper even more than before. Some people thought it was strange that someone as beautiful as Emily would spend time with someone like John. Others were simply curious about their relationship. Whispers and curiosity. The sight of Emily and John together, whether they were working in the garden, walking through town, or sitting in a cafe, became a topic of conversation. Fairview was a small town where everyone knew each other, and news traveled fast. It wasn't long before their budding friendship was the talk of the town. One afternoon, Emily was having coffee with her friend Sarah. Sarah was a kind woman, but she was also very curious. "Emily, I've seen you talking to John a lot lately," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Is there something going on between you two?" Emily smiled and replied, "John is a wonderful person. I enjoy his company. He is kind, funny, and very intelligent." "But don't you care about what people might think?" Sarah asked, her voice lowering to a whisper as if sharing a secret. "I care about what makes me happy," Emily said firmly. "And John makes me happy." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "Well, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters." Mixed reactions. While some people in Fairview were supportive of Emily and John's friendship, others were less kind. The town had its share of gossipers who found it hard to understand why Emily, with her beauty and charm, would choose to spend time with John. One evening, as John was closing up the nursery, he overheard a conversation between two women walking by. "Have you heard about Emily and John?" one of them said. "It's just so odd. She could do so much better." John's heart sank at the words, but he tried to shrug them off. He knew that people could be judgmental, but it still hurt to hear such things. Despite the whispers, John remained focused on his work and his growing friendship with Emily. Emily's determination. Emily, on the other hand, was undeterred by the gossip. She continued to spend time with John, enjoying their conversations and the peace she felt in his presence. She admired his resilience and the way he stayed true to himself despite the negativity. One day, while Emily was teaching, one of her students, a young girl named Lily, raised her hand. "Miss Emily, do you know Mr. John from the nursery?" she asked innocently. Emily smiled. "Yes, Lily. Mr. John is a very good friend of mine." Lily beamed. "He's really nice. He showed us how to plant flowers and it was so much fun." Emily felt a surge of pride and happiness. "I'm glad you enjoyed it, Lily. Mr. John is a wonderful gardener and a very kind person." Confronting the gossip. As the gossip continued, Emily decided to confront it head-on. She believed that people needed to see the good in John and understand why she valued his friendship. She began to invite John to more community events, hoping to show people the side of him that she saw. At the next town fair, Emily and John set up a booth together to teach children about gardening. They spent the day helping kids plant flowers and answering questions about different types of plants. Emily watched as John patiently explained things to the children, his face lighting up with enthusiasm. By the end of the day, many parents had approached Emily to express their gratitude. "Thank you for doing this," one mother said. "My kids had a wonderful time and they learned so much." Emily smiled. "It's all thanks to John. He's the real expert." John blushed at the compliment, but he felt a sense of accomplishment. For the first time, he felt like he was being accepted by the community. Changing perceptions. Over time, the townspeople began to see John in a new light. They saw his kindness, his dedication to his work, and his genuine love for plants. Emily's unwavering support helped change their perceptions, and slowly, the whispers began to die down. One evening, as Emily and John were walking home from the garden, John turned to Emily and said, "Thank you, Emily, for believing in me and standing by me. I don't know what I would do without you." Emily squeezed his hand. "You don't have to thank me, John. You're a wonderful person, and I'm lucky to have you in my life." John smiled, feeling a warmth in his heart. "I'm the lucky one." As they continued their walk, the sun set behind them, casting a golden glow over the town of Fairview. John and Emily knew that there would always be challenges, but they also knew that they could face them together. Their friendship had blossomed into something beautiful, and they were ready to see where the journey would take them next, a united front. Despite the initial gossip and skepticism, Emily and John's bond only grew stronger. They became a united front, supporting each other through the ups and downs. The townspeople slowly came to realize that their friendship was genuine, and that John's character and heart far outweighed his appearance. Emily and John continued to enrich each other's lives, and the garden they nurtured together became a symbol of their growing relationship. They had shown Fairview that true beauty lies in the kindness of one's heart and the strength of one's character. As they stood side by side, ready to face whatever the future held, Emily and John knew that they had found something truly special in each other. Their journey was just beginning, and with every step they grew more certain that they were exactly where they were meant to be. Chapter 6. A Desperate Heart. John was falling deeply in love with Emily, but he was also desperate and afraid. He knew he was not handsome, and he worried that Emily would never see him as more than a friend. He often lay awake at night, thinking about her and wishing he could tell her how he felt. But his fear of rejection held him back. Sleepless nights. Every night John's thoughts were consumed by Emily. He replayed their conversations, remembered her laughter, and cherished the moments they spent together. But as much as he valued their friendship, he couldn't ignore the growing feelings in his heart. The thought of losing her, even as a friend, terrified him. John's self-doubt gnawed at him. He would look at himself in the mirror and see all the flaws he believed made him unworthy of Emily's love. His rough features, his uneven teeth, his wrinkled skin. He was convinced that these were the barriers standing between him and the happiness he longed for. The decision one particularly restless night, John lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The moonlight streamed through the window, casting shadows across the room. He knew he couldn't continue living in uncertainty. The weight of his unspoken feelings was becoming too much to bear. He had to take a chance, even if it meant risking everything. John sat up, took a deep breath, and reached for a notebook and pen on his bedside table. He decided to write Emily a letter, a heartfelt confession of his love for her. He needed to express his emotions in a way that was true to himself, even if it left him vulnerable. The letter. With trembling hands, John began to write. His words flowed from his heart, each sentence a testament to his deep affection for Emily. He wrote about how much she meant to him, how her presence had brought joy and light into his life. He described how he admired her kindness, her intelligence, and her unwavering support. As he wrote, John poured out his fears and insecurities. He acknowledged his rough appearance and his fear that she could never love someone like him. But he also expressed his hope that she could see the person he was inside, a man who loved her with all his heart. The letter was long and filled with emotion. When he finished, John read it over, his eyes misting with tears. He knew this was the most honest he had ever been with himself and with Emily. He folded the letter carefully and placed it in an envelope, addressing it to Emily with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Taking the risk. The next day, John woke up with a sense of determination. He knew he couldn't delay any longer. After his work at the nursery, he would deliver the letter to Emily. His heart pounded with anxiety, but he knew he had to do this. It was a risk he was willing to take for the chance of finding true happiness. As the day went on, John tried to focus on his tasks, but his mind kept drifting to the letter and the potential consequences. What if Emily rejected him? What if she felt uncomfortable around him afterward? These thoughts plagued him, but he pushed them aside, reminding himself that he needed to be brave. The delivery. That evening, John walked to Emily's cottage, the letter clutched tightly in his hand. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the town. John's steps were slow and deliberate, each one bringing him closer to the moment of truth. When he reached Emily's door, he took a deep breath and knocked. Emily opened the door, her face lighting up when she saw him. "John, it's good to see you," she said warmly. "Hi, Emily," John replied, his voice trembling slightly. I have something for you." He handed her the envelope, his heart racing. "Please read it when you have time," he said softly. "It's important." Emily looked at the envelope curiously, then back at John. "Of course, John. I'll read it tonight." John nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and anxiety. "Thank you, Emily. I'll see you soon." He turned and walked away, his mind racing with 1,000 thoughts. He had done it. He had taken the leap. Now, all he could do was wait and hope that Emily would understand. The waiting that night, John barely slept. He tossed and turned, his mind filled with anticipation and fear. Every possible outcome played out in his head, from Emily's rejection to her acceptance. He tried to prepare himself for whatever response she might give. As the first light of dawn broke through the window, John felt a sense of calm wash over him. He had been honest with Emily and with himself. Whatever happened next was out of his control, but he knew he had done the right thing. Emily's reaction. Emily sat in her living room, the letter from John resting on her lap. She felt a mix of curiosity and apprehension. She opened the envelope carefully and began to read. As she took in John's words, her heart softened. She could feel the depth of his emotions, his fears, and his hopes. She realized how much courage it must have taken for him to write this letter. By the time she finished reading, Emily was moved to tears. She had always admired John's kindness and intelligence, but now she saw the vulnerability and strength behind his rough exterior. She felt a deep connection to him, one that went beyond friendship. Emily knew she had to respond, but she needed time to gather her thoughts. She wanted to make sure she conveyed her feelings clearly and honestly. A response. The next evening, Emily walked to the nursery where John was working. She found him tending to a bed of roses, his focus on the delicate petals. When he saw her, his heart skipped a beat. "Emily," he said, his voice filled with uncertainty. "Hi, John," she replied, her eyes soft and filled with emotion. "I read your letter." John's breath caught in his throat. "And?" Emily stepped closer, taking his hand in hers. "John, your words touched my heart. I've always valued our friendship, but your letter made me realize just how special you are to me." John's eyes filled with hope. "Really?" Emily nodded. "Yes, John. I care about you deeply. Your kindness, your intelligence, your passion for life, they all mean so much to me. I'm willing to see where this journey takes us, one step at a time." John felt a wave of relief and joy wash over him. He pulled Emily into a gentle embrace, feeling the weight of his fears lift. "Thank you, Emily. You have no idea how much this means to me." As they stood together, holding each other close, they knew that their bond had grown even stronger. The love that had blossomed between them was a testament to their courage and honesty. They were ready to face the future together, their hearts united by the promise of a shared journey. Moving forward. In the days and weeks that followed, Emily and John's relationship continued to deepen. They spent more time together, exploring their shared interests and discovering new ones. Their connection grew stronger with each passing day, rooted in mutual respect and affection. The townspeople of Fairview began to see the love between Emily and John, and their initial skepticism turned into admiration. They witnessed the kindness and strength of their bond, and many came to respect and support their relationship. John and Emily knew that challenges would come, but they also knew that they had each other to lean on. Their love was a beacon of hope and inspiration, proving that true beauty lies within the heart. As they walked hand in hand through the gardens they had nurtured together, John and Emily looked forward to a future filled with love, happiness, and the promise of endless possibilities. Chapter 7. A New Beginning. That evening, John and Emily met at their favorite spot in the garden. The setting sun cast a golden glow over the flowers, creating a serene and magical atmosphere. John took Emily's hands in his, his eyes filled with gratitude and love. "Emily, your letter meant the world to me," he said softly. "I can't thank you enough for your kind words and for giving us a chance." Emily smiled, her heart full. "John, you've brought so much happiness into my life. I'm excited to see where this journey takes us." They sat together, talking about their hopes and dreams for the future. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, they knew that they were embarking on a new chapter, one filled with love, understanding, and the promise of a beautiful future together. From that moment on, John and Emily's relationship blossomed. They continued to nurture their bond, facing life's challenges and joys hand in hand. Their love story, rooted in honesty and mutual respect, became an inspiration to those around them. In the small town of Fairview, where whispers and gossip had once surrounded them, John and Emily proved that true love sees beyond appearances. Their hearts, entwined by the bonds of friendship and love, were a testament to the power of believing in oneself and in each other. And so their journey continued, with each day bringing new adventures and deepening their love. Together, they created a life filled with beauty, kindness, and endless possibilities. Chapter 8. The First Date. With their feelings for each other out in the open, John and Emily decided to go on their first date. They chose a small, cozy restaurant in town known for its warm ambiance and delicious food. Preparations. John dressed in his best clothes, a crisp white shirt, dark trousers, and a blazer. Emily wore a beautiful flowing dress that highlighted her natural beauty. They both felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness as they prepared for the evening. The date. When John arrived at Emily's cottage, he was struck by how radiant she looked. "You look beautiful, Emily," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Emily smiled. "Thank you, John. You look very handsome." They walked to the restaurant together, enjoying the cool evening breeze. The town of Fairview had never looked more enchanting, laughter and conversation. At the restaurant, they were seated at a quiet corner table. As the evening progressed, they talked and laughed, sharing stories about their childhoods, dreams, and favorite books. John felt like the luckiest man in the world, and Emily felt a deep connection with him, something she had never felt with anyone else. A walk under the stars. After dinner, they decided to take a walk before heading home. The night sky was clear and the stars twinkled above them. As they walked, John gently took Emily's hand. They walked in comfortable silence, enjoying each other's presence. When they reached Emily's cottage, John turned to Emily. "Thank you for tonight, Emily. It was one of the best evenings of my life." Emily smiled. "Thank you, John. I had a wonderful time, too." John leaned in and gently kissed Emily on the cheek. "Good night, Emily." "Good night, John," she replied softly. Reflections. As John walked home, he couldn't stop smiling. The evening had exceeded his expectations. Emily sat by her window, looking out at the starry night sky, feeling a deep connection with John. Their first date marked the beginning of a new chapter in their relationship, filled with the promise of love, laughter, and endless possibilities. Chapter 9. The Turning Point. One day, an unexpected event changed everything. A terrible storm swept through Fairview, causing widespread damage to homes and gardens. Trees were uprooted, flowers were destroyed, and many residents were left feeling devastated. John's efforts. John sprang into action immediately. He worked tirelessly to help the town recover. From dawn until dusk, he repaired gardens, helped rebuild houses, and supported anyone in need. His skills and dedication became a beacon of hope for the community. People saw firsthand his kindness, dedication, and selflessness. Emily's support. Emily was by his side the whole time, offering help and encouragement. Together they worked as a team, bringing comfort and relief to their neighbors. Emily's unwavering support for John did not go unnoticed. Changing perceptions. As John and Emily toiled side by side, the townspeople began to see John in a new light. They saw the love and dedication he had for their community and for Emily. The gossip and skepticism that once surrounded him started to fade away. Recognition. The people of Fairview started to understand why Emily loved John. They realized that true beauty comes from within, and John had a heart of gold. His actions during the storm showed his true character, and the town's perception of him changed forever. A united community. In the aftermath of the storm, Fairview became more united than ever. The residents rallied around John and Emily, grateful for their unwavering support and tireless efforts. The storm had been a turning point, not just for the town, but for John and Emily's relationship as well. John and Emily's love story continued to inspire those around them, proving that true beauty and love are found in the heart. Together, they faced every challenge with strength and resilience, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. Chapter 10, A Public Declaration. The town decided to hold a special event to thank John for all his hard work and dedication to the community. It was a bright, sunny day, and the entire town gathered at the park, where John had spent countless hours tending to the gardens. The atmosphere was festive, with colorful decorations, food stalls, and children running around happily. As the event progressed, various townspeople took turns expressing their gratitude for John's contributions. They spoke about how the gardens had become a source of pride and joy for Fairview, thanks to John's tireless efforts. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and appreciation. Emily stood off to the side, her heart swelling with pride, as she listened to the kind words being said about John. She knew that this moment was important, not just for John, but for their relationship and the journey they had been on together. Emily's speech. When it was Emily's turn to speak, she walked to the front of the crowd with a sense of purpose. She glanced at John, who was standing nearby, looking both proud and humble. Taking a deep breath, she began her speech. "Thank you all for coming here today to honor John," she started, her voice clear and steady. "John has shown us all what true beauty is. It's not about appearances, it's about the love, kindness, and strength within a person." She paused, looking around at the gathered townspeople. "John has touched each of our lives in ways we might not even realize. His dedication to this community, his passion for his work, and his unwavering kindness have made Fairview a better place for all of us." As she spoke, the crowd listened intently, captivated by her words. For those of you who may not know, John is not just a talented gardener. He is my partner, and he has shown me what it means to love and be loved. He has taught me that true beauty lies in the heart and soul of a person. Emily's voice grew stronger as she continued. "I am proud to call John my partner, and I am proud to love him. He has given me more than I could ever ask for, and I am grateful for every moment we share together." The crowd's reaction. The crowd erupted in applause, their cheers filling the air. John was deeply moved, tears filling his eyes as he listened to Emily's heartfelt words. The townspeople's acceptance and support washed over him, dissolving the insecurities he had carried for so long. Overwhelmed with emotion, John stood up and walked over to Emily. He hugged her tightly, his tears mingling with hers as they embraced. The crowd continued to applaud, celebrating not just John's contributions to the town, but also the love and resilience that he and Emily represented. A new beginning. After the event, many townspeople approached John and Emily to offer their congratulations and express their support. Even those who had once been skeptical or judgmental now saw the true depth of their relationship and the strength of their love. Mrs. Thompson, the older woman who had once been a harsh critic, approached them with a warm smile. "I was wrong about you both," she admitted. "Seeing the love and dedication you have for each other has truly opened my eyes. Thank you for showing us all what it means to love unconditionally." Sarah, Emily's friend, hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, Emily. And you, John. You've shown us all what real love looks like, strengthened by love." Emily and John's public declaration of love marked a turning point in their relationship and in the town's perception of them. They felt a renewed sense of confidence and joy, knowing that they had the support of their community. As they walked home hand in hand, John looked at Emily with gratitude and love. "Thank you, Emily, for everything. I couldn't have done this without you." Emily smiled, her heart full. "We did this together, John, and we'll continue to face whatever comes our way, together, looking forward." Their journey had been filled with challenges, but John and Emily knew that their love had grown stronger with each obstacle they overcame. They looked forward to a future filled with hope, happiness, and the promise of new beginnings. In the days that followed, the gardens of Fairview flourished even more, symbolizing the beauty and strength of John and Emily's love. The townspeople often spoke of that special event, remembering it as the day when they truly understood the meaning of love and acceptance. John and Emily's relationship became an inspiration to all, proving that true beauty lies in the heart and that love, when nurtured with kindness and resilience, can overcome any challenge. Their public declaration had not only affirmed their love, but had also united the community in a spirit of compassion and understanding. Together, John and Emily embraced their future with open hearts, ready to face whatever life had in store for them, knowing that their love would guide them through. Chapter 11. Happily Ever After. From that day on, John and Emily's relationship was accepted and celebrated by the people of Fairview. They continued to build a beautiful life together, filled with love, joy, and laughter, flourishing gardens, and teaching. John's gardens became even more famous, drawing visitors from far and wide to see his beautiful creations. The gardens were not just a testament to his skill, but also to the love and dedication he poured into his work. Every flower bed, every meticulously pruned shrub, was a symbol of his passion and the joy he shared with Emily. Emily continued to teach and inspire her students, always reminding them that true beauty comes from within. Her classroom was a place of creativity and learning, where children were encouraged to be kind, compassionate, and to see the world through a lens of love and acceptance. Her influence extended beyond her students, touching the hearts of parents and colleagues alike, building a home together. John and Emily decided to build their dream home on the outskirts of Fairview, surrounded by nature. The house was a cozy, charming cottage with large windows that overlooked the gardens John had created. They spent their weekends working on their home, planting flowers and vegetables and creating a haven of peace and beauty. Community involvement. Their involvement in the community deepened as well. They organized gardening workshops, community events, and charity drives, bringing people together and fostering a spirit of unity and cooperation. Their efforts made Fairview a better place, and their love story became an inspiration to all. Facing challenges. Years passed, and John and Emily faced life's challenges together. They dealt with the ups and downs, the joys and sorrows, always supporting and loving each other. When times were tough, they found strength in their bond, knowing that together they could overcome anything. One particularly difficult time was when John fell ill. Emily was by his side every step of the way, caring for him with unwavering love and dedication. Her support helped him recover, and their relationship grew even stronger through the ordeal, growing old together. As they grew older, their love only deepened. They cherished the simple moments, morning walks in the garden, quiet evenings by the fireplace, and the laughter of friends and family who visited often. They celebrated each anniversary with gratitude, thankful for the love they had found and nurtured. John's hair turned gray, and Emily's smile lines deepened, but their eyes still sparkled with the same love and affection they had always shared. They often reminisced about their journey, the challenges they had faced, and the beautiful life they had built together. Legacy of love. In their twilight years, John and Emily decided to create a public garden in Fairview, a place where people could come to find peace and beauty. The garden was filled with flowers, trees, and winding paths, each corner reflecting a part of their love story. It became a cherished landmark in the town, a testament to their love and dedication. John and Emily's legacy lived on through the lives they touched. Their story became a symbol of hope and inspiration, proving that love knows no boundaries and that true beauty is found in the heart. The final chapter. When the time came for John and Emily to leave this world, they did so knowing they had lived a life filled with love and purpose. They passed away peacefully, surrounded by the garden they had created and the love they had shared. Their final moments were serene, with the fragrance of blooming flowers and the soft rustle of leaves providing a comforting backdrop, a celebration of life. The people of Fairview, deeply touched by John and Emily's lives, decided to honor their memory with a grand celebration. The town gathered in the garden that John and Emily had lovingly nurtured. The event was not a somber farewell, but a joyous celebration of two lives well lived. Children ran through the garden paths, their laughter echoing through the air, a testament to the happiness John and Emily had brought into the world. Friends and neighbors shared stories of how the couple had impacted their lives, recounting tales of kindness, generosity, and love. A living tribute. The garden itself stood as a living tribute to John and Emily's enduring love. Each flower, each tree, each carefully tended path was a reflection of their dedication and passion. The garden became a place of reflection and inspiration, where people came to find peace and remember the couple who had shown them the true meaning of love and beauty. The town decided to create a special section in the garden dedicated to John and Emily. A beautiful stone bench was placed under a large, ancient oak tree. The bench was inscribed with words that encapsulated their legacy. In loving memory of John and Emily, who showed us that true beauty lies within. Their legacy. John and Emily's story did not end with their passing. Their love continued to bloom in the hearts of those who remembered them. Their legacy of kindness, compassion, and strength lived on in the lives they had touched. Parents told their children about the couple who had proven that love transcends appearances, teaching them that true beauty is found in the heart. In the years that followed, the garden became a cherished landmark in Fairview. People from all over came to visit, drawn by the story of John and Emily. The garden was maintained by a team of volunteers who were inspired by the couple's dedication to creating a place of beauty and tranquility. Among these volunteers were many of Emily's former students, now adults, who had carried forward the lessons of love and kindness they had learned from her, a lasting impact. John and Emily's love story became a part of Fairview's history, a tale told with pride and affection. It was a story that inspired others to look beyond appearances, to value the kindness and compassion within. Their example encouraged many to live with greater purpose, to love more deeply, and to treat others with the same generosity and respect that John and Emily had shown. Eternal love. As the seasons changed and years passed, the garden remained a place of solace and reflection. The flowers bloomed brightly, the trees stood tall and strong, and the bench under the oak tree became a spot where many came to sit, reflect, and feel the presence of John and Emily's love. In the hearts of those who had known them, John and Emily's love story continued to inspire. They had proven that love knows no boundaries and that true beauty is found in the kindness, compassion, and strength within a person's heart. Their happily ever after was not just a fairy tale, but a reality that had touched the lives of many and left a lasting legacy of love. The end of a beautiful journey. John and Emily's journey together had been one of growth, love, and unwavering support. They had faced challenges with grace and had celebrated their victories with humility. Their lives had been a testament to the power of love, showing that with a kind heart and a compassionate spirit, anything is possible. And so, John and Emily's story came to a close, but their love continued to bloom, touching the lives of all who visited their beloved garden. Their legacy lived on, a reminder that true beauty is found not in the outward appearance, but in the love and kindness that one shares with the world. A life well lived. John and Emily lived a long and fulfilling life together, becoming an inseparable part of the Fairview community. As each year passed, their love grew stronger, rooted deeply in mutual respect and admiration. They continued their work, John with his beautiful gardens and Emily with her dedicated teaching, spreading joy and wisdom to everyone they met. John's gardens were not just places of beauty, they became symbols of love and resilience. The flowers bloomed vibrantly, reflecting the love that John and Emily shared. People from all over came to visit, seeking not only the splendor of the flowers, but also the story behind them. John and Emily's tale of unexpected love inspired many, reminding them that true beauty lies within the heart. As they grew older, John and Emily faced the challenges of aging with the same strength and grace they had shown throughout their lives. They supported each other through every trial, never losing the spark that had brought them together. Their home was a sanctuary filled with laughter, love, and the fragrance of blooming flowers. The couple's laughter could be heard echoing through the garden, and their home was always warm and inviting, filled with memories of their beautiful journey together. Their evenings were often spent reminiscing about their early days, the challenges they had faced, and the love that had seen them through. They would sit on the porch holding hands and watching the sunset, content in the knowledge that they had lived a life full of love and kindness, a new beginning. One autumn morning, John passed away peacefully in his sleep. He had lived a full and happy life, surrounded by the love of his beloved Emily and the community he had touched. Emily was heartbroken but found solace in the beautiful memories they had shared. She knew that John's love would always be with her, even in his absence. Emily continued to live in their home, tending to the gardens with the same care and dedication that John had shown. She often spoke to the plants, feeling John's presence in every blossom. The townspeople rallied around her, offering their support and love, just as she had always done for them. Emily found comfort in her daily routines. She would wake up early, tend to the garden, and visit the places she and John had loved. She often read the letters and notes John had written to her over the years, feeling his love and presence in every word. Emily's students, past and present, visited her often, sharing their lives and bringing her joy. A few years later, Emily too passed away, joining John in eternal peace. The people of Fairview mourned the loss of their beloved couple, but they also celebrated their extraordinary lives. John and Emily had left an indelible mark on the town, one that would be remembered for generations to come. As they grew older, John and Emily faced the challenges of aging with the same strength and grace they had shown throughout their lives. They supported each other through every trial, never losing the spark that had brought them together. Their home was a sanctuary filled with laughter, love, and the fragrance of blooming flowers. The couple's laughter could be heard echoing through the garden, and their home was always warm and inviting, filled with memories of their beautiful journey together. Their evenings were often spent reminiscing about their early days, the challenges they had faced, and the love that had seen them through. They would sit on the porch, holding hands and watching the sunset, content in the knowledge that they had lived a life full of love and kindness. The Garden of Memories. In honor of John and Emily, the town decided to create a special garden called the Garden of Memories. It was a place where people could come to reflect on their lives, find peace, and be inspired by the legacy of love that John and Emily had left behind. The garden was filled with a stunning array of flowers, each chosen for its significance in John and Emily's life. There were roses for their love, daisies for their simplicity and joy, and lilies for the purity of their hearts. A plaque at the entrance told their story, a beautiful tale of love that transcended appearances and societal expectations. The Garden of Memories became a place of solace and inspiration. People from all walks of life came to visit, drawn by the story of John and Emily. They found comfort in the beauty of the flowers and the enduring message of love and kindness that the garden embodied. Families brought their children, teaching them about the love that John and Emily shared and the importance of kindness and acceptance. The garden also became a place for celebrations. Weddings, anniversaries, and other joyful events were often held there, with couples drawing inspiration from John and Emily's love story. The garden, with its vibrant colors and sweet fragrances, was a living testament to the power of love and the legacy that John and Emily had left behind, a lasting impact. John and Emily's story had a profound impact on the people of Fairview and beyond. Their love and kindness became a guiding light, inspiring others to look beyond appearances and see the true beauty within each person. The lessons they had taught through their lives resonated deeply, encouraging acts of compassion, understanding, and acceptance. In schools, teachers spoke of John and Emily when teaching about love and kindness. Children learned about their story, understanding that true beauty is not about how one looks, but about how one loves and cares for others. John and Emily became role models for generations, their legacy of love continuing to shape the hearts and minds of those who came after them. Fairview adopted several community initiatives in their honor, including an annual Day of Kindness, where people performed acts of goodwill and service. The town also established scholarships in John and Emily's names, supporting young people who showed a commitment to community service and kindness, a message to the future. Years turned into decades, and Fairview continued to thrive. The Garden of Memories remained a cherished part of the town, a living tribute to John and Emily. People left notes and letters in the garden, sharing their own stories of love and struggle, finding strength in the legacy of the couple who had shown them the power of true beauty. One such note, left by a young couple, read, "John and Emily's story gave us hope when we thought we had none. Their love showed us that we too could overcome any obstacle, we promise to carry their message of love and kindness forward. The town's commitment to kindness and acceptance grew stronger each year. John and Emily's story was passed down through families, a treasured tale that reminded everyone of the importance of seeing the heart rather than the face. Their legacy became a beacon of hope, shining brightly in a world that often judged too quickly and loved too slowly. The Garden of Memories also became a place of learning. Schools organized field trips to the garden, where children could hear the story of John and Emily, participate in planting flowers, and leave their own messages of kindness and hope. The garden served as an ongoing reminder that love and kindness can transform lives and communities. Love eternal. John and Emily's love story became timeless, a legend that would never fade. They had shown that love is not about perfection, but about acceptance and kindness. Their journey together was a testament to the power of seeing beyond the surface and finding the beauty within. In the end, John and Emily's greatest gift was their ability to inspire others to love deeply and truly. Their legacy was not just the gardens they had created, but the seeds of love and kindness they had sown in the hearts of everyone who knew their story. As the years passed, Fairview continued to grow and change, but the essence of John and Emily's love remained. The Garden of Memories stood as a symbol of their enduring legacy, a place where love bloomed eternal and where the story of John and Emily would forever be told. New generations grew up hearing about John and Emily, their love story becoming a cherished part of Fairview's heritage. Festivals were held in their honor, celebrating the values they embodied. The town's motto, inspired by their story, became, "Love is our strength, kindness, our legacy." And so, in the town of Fairview, the legacy of John and Emily lived on. A beautiful reminder that true beauty is found in the heart, and that love, when it is genuine and kind, never dies. Their story continued to touch lives, spreading the message that everyone deserves to be loved, and that true beauty is seen with the heart. In the end, John and Emily's love became a beacon of hope and inspiration for all who came to Fairview, reminding the world that love is the most powerful force of all.